Thank you, Chuck, for the talk. That was awesome. So up next is myself, and Dana from Step Finance. We're going to dive into our portfolio API and talk about the history and how to use it. So can I get the presentation on the screen here? Awesome. So there we go. Portfolio API and usage. So the background. We built Step originally to, it was fully decentralized and everything operated in the browser. So all data fetching and parsing was done in the browser. And as Solana scaled, as tokens were getting launched, new protocols, the application started to hit degraded performance, slowed down a lot, and we had to find another solution. So what we decided to do was decouple the API from the browser and place it into a backend server to do two things: secure our RPC endpoints and have a faster front end, right? So there's less background work going on inside of the browser. And once we successfully built our API and built our new front end on top of the API, we decided to offer it for public consumption. Next, sir. So what the overview of this API, what it provides: portfolio holdings and positions across major DeFi applications on Solana. So, Camino, Drift, MarginFi, all of that. And the data from the API comes pre-parsed and priced against USD for data collection and UI display. So, normally when you get data from a Solana program, it's all in bytes and just things that you have to parse and do a lot of code to get that ready for the UI. We do that for you on the back end. And we have it organized by module. So spot tokens, liquidity, staking, margin trading, and we specify your position by platform. So it's ready to go. And we have it served from a single endpoint with the ability to filter by module. So you can either exclude or only include certain modules. So if you only need token balances, you can only request token balances. And how it works. So the API, the user sends a request with a wallet address, and the data queries are triggered for that wallet. And the user will receive either an empty response, if it's the first ever request for that wallet, or a cached data response immediately with the last, query data that we have. And the active queries, they're outlined in the stale jobs attribute of the response. So you can see what's still in process, what's still being processed in the back end. And what we suggest is there's a max wait time parameter. So we suggest setting that to 30 seconds because generally that'll capture everything. Some stuff takes longer than others. It really depends on the program. And that allows time for all of that to complete. And if it doesn't complete, you just need to send another request until that stale jobs attribute is empty and there's nothing in the back end. Everything's done. So this is our coverage page, and this highlights all the coverage we have across the ecosystem. So you can check here for what we do have. If we don't have it, then what we do is we go through a process of kind of basically, I think next slide you can do about, So, there's a missing slide, but
if we don't have it, talk to Jerome, who's sitting right here.
Talk to this guy. Basically, we do coverage based on community requests and TVL, because what happens a lot in Solana, there'll be a new hot protocol and then boom, they're gone. And that's like wasted dev time and efforts. And so we try to see things that are a bit of matured products, a lot of people asking for it, and a promising amount of TVL. I think, what's our number? 10, what do we have for 10 million TVL?
I don't know. Jerome would know better.
1 million TVL.
Yeah.
1 million TVL.
Our requirements have dropped with the bear market,
Yeah, bear market changes things. So, Yeah, some of the use cases, what you could use this for. So a custom dashboard for multi-sig DAO wallets. If there's a group of people managing funds, placing positions in other protocols, blah, 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 you can get it all in one place. Indexing wallet data over time. So you saw Soulflare talk about the historical portfolio value stuff. You can do that with this, except beyond tokens. Wallet tracking across major DeFi platforms. So if you like to track whale wallets, you can see more than just token buys. You can see maybe they open a perp position on Drift, and you want to know that, you want to follow that. Showing DeFi positions from other applications on yours. This one's spicy, right? So you could say, hey, one of these lending protocols could show you your positions on another and say, hey, you can get more yield here. And yeah. And then personal spreadsheets for wallet analysis. This is a big one. I know, Dana, you use this.
Yeah. Well, I'll demo that in a little while.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see some of these use cases get built by the community. Like we've opened up our API. We don't have time to build all these awesome tools, but we can provide the data. That's what we're really, really good at. So everything you see on Step Finance, you could create a tool that does these types of things, even if it's just a simple spreadsheet for yourself.
Yeah, we really want to see more people using this because there's a lot. It's like very rich data.
And I really like that spicy idea of a lending protocol showing the competitive lending protocol's positions, especially when the interest rates are better,
Exactly. So this brings us to pricing. Right now we have 2 plans going on. There's our starter plan, which gives you 3 API keys and 10 unique wallets per hour, and 10,000 monthly credits. Basically, the way the credits work is per module, it's either 1 or 2 credits per request that you use. How do we rate the modules, right? The ones that take a little bit more resource, that are more resource intensive, I think there's 2 of them that are 2 credits.
Yeah, I think margin
trading, and maybe vaults. Strategy vault,
something that is a lot more complex. Just takes a lot more
process heavy
RPC calls.
Yeah, exactly. The process heavy, lots of RPC calls. Those are going to be 2 credits, but the lightweight stuff is 1. And Discord support. Come in, complain about what's wrong. Either me or Dana or one of the other devs is going to respond and help you out. And then the team plan. So this is the bigger one, and we give you 20 API keys and 200 unique wallets per hour, 3 million monthly credits, and Discord support. So 200 isn't really a big number for large, protocols that really want to use this.
But if you need more than 200 unique wallets per hour, see me.
Yeah, talk to this guy.
We do have some enterprise things that we're working with. We integrate with some major players. Let's talk. We're having some scaling problems right now, but I'll go into that. I'll let Chris finish.
Yeah. So basically, we're kind of like chomping at the bit with scaling. We're, scanning the entire chain for all the data. And we hit limits with that. It's very resource intensive. And we're kind of changing the approach and the way things are retrieved, the way the data is queried. So I'll let Dana take the reins now. To talk about how he's going to solve. It's awesome.
Sure. I think I was going to demo this API.
Actually, let's do a quick demo. So, I think we want to bring up Postman. Yeah. Do you have a wallet?
Yep, I already got a wallet loaded. I'm not going to risk hitting the request button and having it fail live here. So, this is a wallet. I don't know what wallet. Should I try a different one?
I think that's our test wallet. I'm going to say go get like a Fartcoin whale or something. Something that hasn't been indexed. That way people can see.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, people can see the empty response and then how quickly it populates. Solscan. Yeah.
Are you the Fartcoin whale?
I am. No, I'm. I am the Fartcoin whale. No. But hot air does rise. I don't know if we're going to get an internet connection here. So, 3, 2, 1. Let's just go back to the response. We can talk about it a little.
We can talk about it. I should have loaded a better
So basically you get the response, you have the wallet that you requested, and then we have a positions attribute which goes by module. So token, we have spot. We separate tokens into spot and yields because yield-bearing tokens, they're kind of a different mechanism and they come with a interest rate. So we've separated those out. And if you keep scrolling, this is where, we list your domains, your DEX. So this wallet doesn't have any DEX positions. No
wallet
lending.
doesn't have much more.
Yeah, it doesn't. But, there's some NFTs. And, so the summary.
Basically, every module on here is one of the sections from the dashboard. So if I jump over to the dashboard here.
Exactly. So the dashboard is
here.
A visual representation of the API response.
Right. Like Chris said earlier, we built our dashboard using our API. So if there's ever a question of what can I get from the API, it's whatever's displaying on the dashboard.
Exactly. Yep. And the liquidity ranges, cool feature. Nice. Can you go back to the Postman? Yeah. So here, the something else to note is the summary section. So we summarize every single module, but also the whole wallet. So you'll see your total USD value in spot tokens. In this case, it's a little over $2,200. I think I'm reading that right.
Yep.
And then if you scroll down, we have aggregated. Yeah, so your net worth. This is a cool one. Your net worth of the wallet will come back in this response. This one can go for, is a good tool for indexing your net worth over time. That's something that I want to build for myself. So, and then here's the statuses. We have a statuses section, so you can have a bit more detailed.
It helps you know if there was an error in a certain module, what caused it. And there's an as of date there that if you've asked the API for data that's allowed to be stale, up to even 6 hours or something huge, you don't care if it's a day old, this lets you know exactly how old is that data that I'm looking at.
Exactly. And did this response have anything in the stale jobs, right? Okay, so that stale jobs array at the end there is empty in this case. But if we hit the endpoint, we will get pretty much all of the jobs that are being processed in that response. Yeah, well, we'll see if the internet likes us. I think we're bogging down the internet with this.
Yeah, probably not. SoulScan never loaded.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Sorry we didn't. Oh.
Yeah, that's a whole nother problem.
Oh. We invalidated our own API key on stage.
No, it's just a login issue. I'd have to go through all this again.
You're using the JWT method.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's two methods. So there's a JWT method where you do an authorization login, or you can just stick your API key into the URL.
I'm trying not to show an API key on stage here. That's kind of the goal there.
It expires. So whatever. But yeah, cool. Let's hear about the scaling, Dana.
Yeah, sure. I did want to show one thing. Since we built this API, I'm a big fan of the data from the step dashboard. I just like to see all of my wallets in one place, compressed, no padding, no pretty, no nothing. I just like data. I like spreadsheets, right? So I did create a spreadsheet that can take any number of wallets and just using our API, aggregate them into this pivot table that kind of matches what you see on the dashboard. But this is a good example of what's possible using our API. I'm waiting for someone to write a Google Sheets plugin for our API. That would be amazing. I would buy that. Someone please write that.
Yeah. Some of us nerds don't want the pretty stuff. We just want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you have charts and stuff too?
And I do, yeah, I forgot about that. So down here I have a tab for charts as well. This is all built using the API in Google Sheets, showing kind of the distribution of value across different types of protocols, different protocols themselves, numbers down here, everything. I just want to point out, these are not my wallets. I just picked some random wallets.
That's what they all say.
Right? It's not even that much money. I'm not worried about it. Now, this one's a lot of money, right?
Yeah, good old.
So, so let's talk about where things are going. Like Chris mentioned, the way we've done things for years now is kind of a polling type of thing. A lot of you are familiar with, to get a DeFi position, we can change this to something else.
Yeah.
To get a DeFi position from
the PowerPoint.
Yeah, something like that. From the chain, it takes a whole bunch of RPC calls. Get program account calls, which are super expensive, take forever to run, and then followed by tons of get multiple account calls and all sorts of other RPC calls. And what was happening is a single call to our API can result in over 500 calls to an RPC. So obviously that does not scale well. As we scale up this API, the more it gets hit, every single request is hitting 500 RPC calls. So it's just not sustainable to go that way. So what we started building is a ingestion framework using a Geyser plugin, and we're getting real-time data from the chain. And we discovered over time that the data you get in a normal Geyser message is not enough to really index the chain. You get instructions, you get transaction data, right? And then separately, you get account data. And this stuff isn't matched together, and you can try to just read the account data, but then you're missing the instructions. And so what we ended up having to do is fork the Solana validator, and we added tons of information in the Geyser message that's super useful to us to do some parsing. And within the last year, we've started writing a lot of parsers that use this data, and so that we get real-time positions of all DeFi protocols, and we're able to parse those and stick it in a database. We started with Timescale DB in Postgres. We outgrew that very, very quickly. We ran into scaling problems. We also ran into the fact that I used an int32 for account IDs, which was a really, really bad idea. So we've decided more recently to move to ClickHouse. Yeah, cool. So we're now putting things into ClickHouse, which if anyone in here is a ClickHouse expert and a Solana expert, please grab me after this talk because I need to talk to you. And this allows us to look up portfolio positions instantly because we have them in the database already. Not only that, we have them over time. So we will start having, you can look up not just the portfolio value this instant, but the portfolio value at any moment in time going back. And you can see this currently on our dashboard. We've been building this out for the last year. What happened there?
You just had to.
Oh, this is a full screen bit.
Yeah.
You can actually click on an individual token on our dash, and you can see the token balance over time because we're storing every account on Solana's token balance of every single token over time in our ClickHouse instance. And this is what we're gonna, wow, maybe not. Click on the 1 month view and then click back. It's a live demo, it just doesn't work. So let's blame the Wi-Fi, but I promise you that works. And so we're gonna have this same thing for all protocols. So if you're wondering, how your lending position did that you've been in for 7 months because you can't remember how much you even put in there to begin with, you'll be able to open this up and you can see exactly what you deposited and its value over time and the amount of token over time. So you can see interest earned. It's almost a P&L of sorts.
I'm going to try a different token here. It did come up, but...
Oh, it did come up, but it's just USD.
It's not very informative for USD. So let's do Sol here. To the 1 month. it gets really interesting with
there you go.
pauses.
That's
Yeah,
a
there
little
we
bit better.
go. Cool. So yeah, let Dana talk. But
So you see the green line is the actual balance of SOL in the account, but then the blue dotted line is the price of SOL plus times the balance of SOL. So you get some really insightful information here. And we're looking at having this for all DeFi protocols. So you'd have the exact same thing for a lending position or for a liquidity pool or whatever it is, margin orders or perps.
exactly.
And so I can go into a little bit of the detail of how this was built. Also, hold on, want to go back. The other thing this allows us to do, we're parsing these transactions in real time and we're writing them out to LavinMQ, and it allows us to tap another process into those data points, which we call DOOTs, and set up a WebSocket server. So we in the future, we'll be able to deliver real-time WebSocket changes to positions. So say you're on the MarginFi team, you can subscribe to all changes to your interest rates and your users' positions to show live updates on the screen. Maybe Oracle prices as well. You could have all this data delivered via WebSocket live without you having to worry about parsing individual protocols. And similar to the other things, you can do this for your competitors' protocols too, right? Get real-time positions, do notifications, watch your users' wallets, spy on them, you know. They're deposited into someone else's protocol, let them know that you have a better rate, that sort of thing. So we're looking forward to that WebSocket real-time stuff. We're going to be integrating that into our dashboard as well at the same time. So we're building on our own platform, and we encourage you to build on our platform as well. And of course, the point of all this is that this portfolio lookup, instead of having to make 500 RPC calls, can just run a SQL query. It'll be much, much faster to get that response from an API. We're looking at under 100 milliseconds to get a full response of all of a wallet's holdings. That's what we're aiming for. We're not there yet, but we are slowly moving some of these parsers into the response. In fact, I think some of them we have I think MarginFi actually reads from the database when you call the API. So you'll notice the API always returns a MarginFi response.
Yeah, immediately. I think there's a couple
That's
others.
just by chance. We didn't work with MarginFi to do that, although I see MarginFi here in the audience. So
Yeah. They just got the luck of the draw.
yeah, they did. They drew the lucky straw.
Next slide. Let's see. Is this it?
So this is a link to API pricing. Is that what that is? I have another tab open to show some of the insights about how this real-time parsing is working.
Yeah.
But our API pricing is available here. You can also go to developer.step.finance. Also api.docs.step.finance for the documentation.
Or speak to one of us wearing one of these shirts. We'll help you
Yeah,
out.
there's a lot of us. There's a whole bunch of developers out at the Step booth. Feel free to stop by, ask us about the API. We can answer any questions about that.
Which tab did you want?
Yeah, jump to that Draw.io confusing tab. Yeah. All right. So there used to be a lot of teams doing parsing on Solana. I don't hear about as many anymore, and I know why, because it's really, really, really hard. And it's hard to keep up with protocols as they change and they release new versions, and there's new protocols and the old protocols disappear. But this is a picture of kind of what's going on behind the scenes at Step and what we're building in order to deliver this real-time API to the consumer and through the WebSockets as well. Is we have that Geyser plugin. It's a custom plugin we wrote to write to LavinMQ. We also have the custom Solana node where we had to fork Solana in order to get the information we need into the messages. It writes to a queue. That rate usually I think is about 25 or 1,200 per second. I think transactions somewhere around there. Those all hit our ingester. They go through all of our parsers. This had to be written in Rust. Fun fact, we wrote it in TypeScript at first, and we learned that you shouldn't do this in TypeScript. That did not scale. We thought it would be easier from a developer, perspective. It was not. So we run this ingester process with all of these parsers. It parses them and it outputs these things called DOOTs, which are basically data points. Those end up spitting out about 2,500 per second because every single transaction results in tons of DOOTs. I'm talking a data point for a token transfer, a SOL transfer, a balance update for every single account in that transaction. So usually a transaction is spitting out about 10 DOOTs, maybe more. It depends on what it's doing. Lending position changes, liquidity pool stuff, basically everything you see on the dash, we're starting to write parsers for that spit out these DOOTs. We then write those DOOTs in real time to ClickHouse, which has been handling the ingestion of these things great. Anyone interested in ClickHouse, talk to me. I can tell you some great success stories there. And so since the DOOTs are hitting the queue, we can also read that queue from an API and spit those out in WebSockets to do real-time delivery of these data points in the future for anyone that needs. These are features we're building. This is kind of our roadmap for the coming 6 months.
Computer went to sleep.
Don't make any promises. What's this? Oh, you need me to unlock it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to wiggle the...
Okay.
Yeah, that's really it. We have 5 minutes left.
Yeah, let's open up the floor for some questions. So, anybody have any questions?
Sure.
Can we get this man a mic, please?
I can repeat it. Go ahead.
Question was Hi guys.
Hey.
Yeah.
One more
the
time.
question is, do you guys also provide like portfolio, like some wallet portfolio at specific date in the past? Let's say I want to know like what was the specific portfolio of a specific wallet like on March 15, like 2021, and just want to see all the tokens and NFTs that this particular wallet held at this moment. Yeah. Is it possible?
Sure. So from our API, we do not expose any historical data. On our dashboard, your particular use case there would be possible. You'd have to click through every token and look at it manually. We haven't exposed that through an API yet. That's on the roadmap. Definitely for tokens and everything, we actually have that data going back about 16 months already. So that history will be available. As we bring in new parsers, the data's it's not going to be retroactive, right? Maybe in the future we can run some sort of, backfill. That's a very difficult problem because people keep changing their protocols. But, from that point where we start writing data forward, the plan is to be able to deliver a point-in-time portfolio balance. So you could pass us not just a pub key, but a date time, and we would return exactly what that portfolio had at that date time.
Yep.
Great question.
Yeah, and eventually, I think date range as well. To get Yeah. So, cool.
Any more questions, anyone?
Yeah, thank you. It's hard to see.
All right.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Hope you enjoyed the talk. And I hope we get some new API subscribers.
Yeah, come see us at the step booth. We could talk through it.